And we'll start it off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. While we're standing, why don't we just say a quick prayer? Tom, you want to lead us in a prayer?
Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Dear Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to do business for our community, for the city, and we thank you for this opportunity to be a good voice and good custodians of the public's trust. We ask that you be with all of our emergency responders that are out there this time of year as the weather gets bad, and we just ask that you be with us and do your will as we go about our business tonight. In your name we pray. Amen. All right. I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order here, November 6th, 6 p.m. Before we get started, are there any particular comments by any of the commissioners? Tom? Mr. King? Thank you. We'll start off with the chief's comments.
Good evening. I'm Deputy Chief Tony Dowd, Lawrence Fire Department. I'm standing in for Chief Wallace. He's unable to be here. He's detained with another meeting. But I wanted to make sure I thank you all for being able to be here. We don't get together a lot, but we'd like to thank you for being here. We'll get all of our items from the agenda taken care of, and we will make the evening go good, I hope.
Fantastic. Thanks, Chief. Appreciate that. Next order of business, approval of our last meeting minutes on September 1st. I assume all of our board has read these and asked if there's any questions about those. If not, we'll ask for a move to approve.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioners. All right. With that. Any old business to discuss? Kayla, anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Good, okay. We'll move on to our first agenda item on new business for the appeal. And Chief, you want to lead us off with this?
So we would just start off and go through just kind of like a timeline of what has transpired. We'll start a little bit earlier. July 31st, there was a general order meeting for a general order change, and that is what we have here is a general order that is only a couple of months old. On August 14th, the general order was adopted by the Board of Works. August 15th, it was sent out to our platform, our training platform, which is Target Solutions, for all of the companies to read and to sign for. On October 16th is when we had the accident. The accident occurred at at Lawrence Park, and it was during our EVOC training, which is our emergency vehicle operations course. And that's going to be what we're going to be discussing this evening, is the appeal of the discipline that was handed down. The general order, we'll just briefly state what the general order is. It's General Order 4.20. It's Department of Vehicle Accidents and Accident Review Procedure. And this general order basically goes through and describes accidents. It describes the Accident Review Board, what it does, the establishments, the responsibilities, notification guidelines, and then actually it goes into the accident point system, which we'll be discussing here in a moment. And after the accident point system, it goes in and discusses the recommendation for disciplinary actions. So basically, we had the accident, the timeline. Chief Wallace assigned Chief Gamble who to do the investigation and to decide exactly, get the facts. So all information was funneled to Chief Gamble, where he had pictures, he had all the statements from the individuals, and we went through. He went through his investigation. He is here if there's at any time any questions for him to answer. So we finished with that, and basically the Accident Review Board sent out their invitation. They had the Accident Review Board meeting, and they handed down their recommendations. One thing I did want to mention was that during this training, I was in the side seat of one of the other vehicles. So during all this, I am the chair of the Accident Review Board, which a non-voting member, but I chair it. During this situation, I recused myself, so all the information was gathered and was presented by Chief Gamble, and then the Accident Review Board met independently along with Chief Gamble's independent investigation. And when they finished, I came into the room and they informed me of what they wanted to do, and they had the Accident Review Board's recommendations. The recommendations from them, the board recommended the disciplinary actions to go with the disciplinary actions per General Order 4.20, the point system guidelines, with 8 points assessed total. 4 points for the first preventable accident, 2 points for failure to take precautionary measures approaching alleys, driveways, and intersections, and 2 points for improper action while passing or being passed. The recommended disciplinary action is a written reprimand, 12 hours off without pay, and additional training. And that is in our general order. When you add the points up, it's right there. That's what the recommendation is. The Accident Review Board went with that. With that being said, we presented the fire chief with the information, and he decided to uphold the recommendations of the Accident Review Board. And so a written reprimand was issued, and a 12-hour suspension without pay was given, and additional training was outlined. I believe that's all the basic information that I have. So if the board has any questions for myself, I'd be happy to answer those.
I got one.
Yes, go ahead.
Do you take into consideration his past history of accidents? I mean, does he have a past history of accidents?
We don't factor that necessarily in. After 12 months, the clock basically resets. So in this instance, the Accident Review Board did not go back, and there was no accidents to review in the last 12 months, so those weren't accounted. Firefighter Sterrett has been to the Accident Review Board before, but those were not. It's not like they were stacked on or anything like that. The merit of this accident was taken strictly in a single case.
I also saw that it was at an EVOC course. That was the other thing that kind of troubled me a little bit, is that he said he was at a stop sign, and I didn't see any pictures of the stop sign or where he was at. But I mean, if this was at an EVOC course, I'm sure it was kind of difficult to get around. I mean, there's a lot of moving vehicles there is what I'm.
We utilize Veterans Park off of Pendleton Pike, and there are two separate parking lots that we use. We use one of the parking lots that's right behind the Mount Wall Diamonds, and the other one is actually a little bit farther away. So at this point, there were definitely two vehicles on the course at the same time. Yes, and then we had one vehicle was entering, and then another vehicle was exiting, and there is an intersection there with a stop sign.
So you basically had two moving vehicles?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, we had two vehicles that were in the process of moving while getting on the course, and in amongst that time, there were vehicles that were stopped and vehicles that were moving.
Okay. You got anything?
I have a question. Who is on the review board? Does it consist of any of the members, the firefighters, or union representative, or just admin?
So we have had some attrition in the last year or so, but the people who are on it, besides myself being the chair, but we had Division Chief Eric Gamble also was on the board, but the chief has since is starting to use him as investigation only. So normally he would be on that, but he was taken out of that. So we had firefighter John Phelps, Battalion Chief Pat Grippin, and another Battalion Chief Steve Lazan were on the board that were making up the.
Thank you.
Chief, have the Accident Review Board procedures and all that, are they annually updated, so, or every couple of years? Is it a record schedule they update?
Yes, usually the general orders we go through every several years, or whenever there is a needed change, we make those. In this particular instance, the update was August 15th of 2025.
That's what I thought.
The previous update was January 27th of 22.
Okay.
So they are.
When did the accident happen?
The accident happened this month, November,
Oh, it was, okay.
hold on.
I thought it was July.
No.
No, you said the.
I'm sorry, it's October 16th was when the accident happened.
Okay.
But the date that I mentioned, that July date, was just when the general order meeting, we have a general order committee that met and decided that that was one of several. There was 3 other general orders that were going to be changed. That's the timeline that they met. And then the August date was just the time that it was set into motion. So this general order is it went into play August of 25.
So whenever you do a general order change, you notify the entire department, they all get notified of the different changes in the procedures?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We utilize a platform called Target Safety or Target Solutions, and whenever the individuals log on, there will be an assignment due, and then there's a date when it's due by. This particular one was each person in the department is assigned that, and you had to go on, and this particular one, you have to actually, it had 4 different general orders that were to be changed, but in order to complete the assignment, you had to go on and click on to the actual PDF of it, and then read it, and then when you're done with that, you check a box that says you read that, and then you go on to the next one. So there were four of those that you had to check, and everyone on the department has to do that, and that was completed by everyone on the department.
So, can you read me his points again? He had 4 point for.
8 total points, 4 for first accidental, and then 2 for false failure to is it right away or precautionary?
So
right?
I've
And
got
then
them
improper
right
passing.
here. So
Okay.
4 points for the first preventable accident, 2 points for failure to take precautionary measures approaching alleys, driveways, and intersections, and then 2 points for improper action while passing or being passed. And then that, according to our general order, whenever you look at that and you tally up the numbers underneath the recommended disciplinary actions, 1 through 7 is minimum verbal reprimand, additional training, other discipline may be considered. 8 through 11 is minimum written reprimand, 12 hours off without pay, and additional training, other discipline may be considered.
So this is on the lower end of the scale from 8 to 11.
Yes, and the only thing that will, when we talked about that, the only other thing that I was informed that the Accident Review Board considered but did not put on was there's another bullet point after those, as well as quite a few others that didn't apply. But another one was accident greater than $5,000 in damage estimated. And the board did not go into that one because we did not have an absolute number, and the board didn't want to guesstimate. The damage to the ladder truck was handrail and marker light, and there was a beauty ring on the ambulance, and then paint for several, which I'm not a body guy, but things rack up pretty quickly. But it was the decision of the review board that since we don't have an exact number, they didn't want to guesstimate, so they chose to opt out of the accident greater than $5,000 in damage.
And can you tell us a little more about the written reprimand, the 12 hours without pay, and then the additional training? What kind of training goes on?
So this additional training is new for the new general order, and our division chief of fire training has outlined on this one. It will be, again, Target Solutions has on that platform, if we video something, we can put that on there. We can put on documents, and they also have what we call canned trainings. and that would be something that has been organized and presented by Target Solutions, and it's
Okay.
kind of generic. Injuries, we do all of our OSHA things, your respiratory training, that kind of stuff, all the mandatories that you have to do for OSHA every year. That's what, and that would be one of these safe driving courses that is basically on there, and it consists of, I couldn't tell you exactly how many, but usually it takes, half an hour to go through. You're reading different slides, or you're listening to slides being read, and there's a quiz here or there, and at the end, there is usually a 10-point question, 10-point test, and you're given as many times as you need to, but you complete that, and that means the training is done, and then you're finished with that. And I'm not aware of any other training that was on deck for that, other than
Okay.
just that.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate that. Any questions for the chief? Amy, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Appreciate it.
Do what I can.
If we're finished, we can have firefighter Sterrett come up. We can have firefighter Sterrett come up.
Yes. Yeah. I think at this time, we'd like to ask Firefighter Scarrett to step up and
That's the guy.
Lower this because I'm short. Nick Remmel, District Vice President for the City of Lawrence, Local 416. I'm going to stand in as his union rep. First off, I want to thank you guys for your time and the work you guys do for our members. I appreciate you guys' support and all the things that you do for our membership. I'm also thankful that I live in a country that we do have due process, and we do work for a city that allows us to have an opportunity to explain ourselves. So my objectives up here tonight is to respectfully request a reduction in assigned points, thereby removing the 12-hour unpaid suspension and replacing it with a verbal reprimand. The request is based on conflicting incident reports, mitigation actions taken by the driver, training environment factors, and alignment with NFPA and Indiana traffic standards. The goal is not to deny accountability, but to ensure proportionality and preserve the morale of our members. Quick incident overview. We've went through this, but I want to go over it again. Marty was operating the ambulance. He was stopped at a stop sign while the ladder was also stopped at the same intersection. Both apparatuses were making evasive maneuvers to avoid a collision, showing defensive driving on all parties' accounts. The ladder truck began to move forward. Per the only incident reports I received are Marty's. I didn't see the other ones. However, obviously the other two said the ladder was not moving, since that's where we concluded our investigation. The ladder truck began to move forward. Its rear drifted towards the ambulance. Marty attempted to avoid contact by steering partially into the grass. Per the pictures you've received, the tail end of that ambulance is in the grass. A collision occurred between the ladder's rear and the driver's side of the ambulance. Now for point assignment breakdown, the first preventable accident, that's 4 points. We're not contesting that. The intersection operations, that's 2 points. Marty was stopped and he reacted defensively. Passing causing collision, that's 2 points. Marty was not passing, he was avoiding contact. That's a total of 8 points per the General Order 4.20. This triggers a written reprimand and 12 hours paid without pay. Our request is to reduce those points down to a verbal reprimand. So let's get into a couple of points. The conflicting incident reports. There were 2 reports that stated that the ladder was stationary. 2 employees state that both vehicles were moving. This 50-50 split creates reasonable doubt about the passing causing collision classification. Marty's own incident report confirms evasive action and describes the ladder as moving. All 4 witnesses were inside the involved apparatus with no external witnesses. So we're taking the account of just the 4 people that were in both apparatus. There was evasive action taken. Photos show the ambulance in the grass, consistent with Marty's account of attempting to avoid the collision. This is not reckless behavior, but it's a defensive maneuver. Indiana traffic law, and I'm going to actually hand you guys, what did we have for? These are a couple things I'm going to reference. Kaylee? Indiana Code 92118 is about emergency vehicle operation. It allows emergency vehicle operators to proceed through intersections with caution, i.e. proceed through the stop signs or red lights after slowing down as necessary for safe operation. Why does that matter? Marty's maneuver aligns with the law's emphasis on safe operations, even when deviating from standard traffic rules. Additionally, Marty was operating in a controlled training environment and took evasive actions to avoid a collision, consistent with the law's emphasis on state safety. NFPA standards support Marty's actions as well. What is NFPA? National Fire Protection Association, it sets national safety standards for fire service operations. NFPA 1002 4.3.1 and 4.3.3, drivers must operate safely in intersections and anticipate apparatus swing and blind spots. NFPA 1901 emphasizes maneuverability and driver awareness of vehicle dimensions and turning characteristics. Why does that matter? Marty's actions were aligned with these standards as well. He attempted to avoid said collision, not to cause one. He was taking into account that ladder moving, the rear end was moving. He tried to get around it before they made contact. OSHA standards also, so we are not an NFPA state, but we try to stick to those standards. However, we are an OSHA state. OSHA standards reinforce the shared responsibility. What is OSHA? OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration that sets and enforces workplace safety standards. Indiana follows its own OSHA-approved plan called IOSHA. The general duty clause for OSHA is Section 5A1 of the OSHA Act, and it says that the employers must provide a workplace free from recognized hazards likely to cause harm. CFR 1910, it requires safe and qualified evaluators. 29 CFR 1926.601 requires safe vehicle operations in off-highway training environments. Now I will say the caveat to that, this is more for construction sites, but a lot of what we use in the fire service pertains to this particular standard because it talks about backup alarms, and it's more so for the larger axle vehicles. Why does this matter? OSHA places responsibility on the evaluator to ensure safe training conditions. Marty's actions were consistent with OSHA's emphasis on collision avoidance and oversight on the EVOC deficiencies. Now, training environment concerns. The EVOC course layout allowed two large apparatus to operate in close proximity, increasing collision risk. The evaluator in the ambulance was a civilian with limited experience, not a senior driver or administrator. Marty was operating under instruction in a controlled setting, yet bears full disciplinary weight of this entire thing. Also in General Order 4.2, it talks about extenuating circumstances. There's a clause in there. The general order allows discipline to be waived if extenuating circumstances exist. The training layout, evaluator experience, and conflicting reports qualify, in my opinion, for this. Marty's accolades and reputation, let's talk about that. Marty's one of our most senior and respected driver operators in the department. He's driven for 18 years, and this is his 4th accident. He's received the Engineer of the Year award twice, technically 3 times, but he passed the honor so that we could recognize somebody else. He serves on the department's awards committee. He serves on, he has trained and tested countless members in Indiana's driver, operator, and pump operation courses. Marty has had remarkably few driving incidents over a long and active career, and he is trusted by his officer and his crew, as seen behind me. He is a well-respected and principled engineer. Marty's integrity and impact on morale. Marty's not denying the need for discipline. He expected points and respects the general order change. This general order is newly changed and reflects the city's stance on preventable accidents. However, there is zero wiggle room for the Accident Review Board, specifically on the contributing factors. This case sets a precedent that could discourage experienced and new members from driving due to liability fears. Reducing discipline would reinforce accountability while preserving morale and encouraging continued participation in driving roles. We're not disputing that the incident was preventable. We're asking that the commission consider the conflicting evidence, the defensive nature of Marty's actions, and the standards that guide safe apparatus operation. Reducing the points from 8 would still hold Marty accountable while avoiding disproportionate discipline. Additionally, I believe these actions will send a few messages to our membership. First, that they won't be penalized monetarily for the first time that they make a mistake, but it will also reinforce the need for a stronger general order in regard to accidents that are preventable, while additionally reinforcing the need for our members to drive effectively and safely. This is a fair and principled outcome that reinforces both safety and morale while maintaining accountability for the fire department and the fire administration. Does the commission have any questions for me or Marty?
Could you reiterate one more time, Nick, what
Yep.
you're asking us?
I am asking that the commission consider, I'm using, obviously, I've got a lot of different rules and regulations and
Yeah,
stuff like
just
that.
sum it.
I'm asking that there's a reduction of points. We're contesting the intersection operation, so that would take away 2 points, and then also the passing causing collision, which is also 2 points.
So reduction to 8 points?
4.
4, from 8 to 4.
You said the intersection and the passing is the other one?
Correct.
So the statement of what happened comes down to 2 people in one truck and 2 people in another truck.
Correct.
So, and then if we take Marty's out of there, then that's 2 against 1.
Correct.
And then you said there are 2 conflicting reports. Are they both separate written reports, or is like the final?
There were 4 incident reports that were written because there was no exterior observers of the accident itself.
Okay.
There were 2 members that were inside the ladder truck, one including Chief Dowd, and then Marty, and then the person who was instructing him, who was a civilian with limited experience. So one of the points I kind of wanted to make is, and obviously I will be working with the chief on this, is maybe that we put an actual instructor in the seat to evaluate. There are safety concerns, there are liabilities that do fall on the evaluator. And to put somebody in that position, and I'm not saying that person is not qualified to do so and couldn't do it, because they drive an ambulance often. However, when it comes to liability, I want to make sure people are covered, and if we have an actual instructor certification, I think that would be prudent to consider that in the future.
And so, did the person directing him just like say what, or like say the wrong thing, or did they, like, how did that?
So the collision happened on the driver's side of both. So I would venture to say, I'm not a smart man, but I would venture to say that the passenger side had very limited view of actually what happened and how close they actually were. So those are going to be just the account of what they felt and what they observed happening
Right.
during the operation.
Great.
So we have kind of two parts of this. One is asking for reduction in points, and then we have what the Accident Review Board recommended, and those 3 items were written reprimand, 12 hours without pay, and then additional training. So
Right, but if we take the points down, that'll take away the.
It'll take away the
It'll take the written
suspension.
reprimand down to a verbal reprimand.
verbal only.
Correct.
So I guess we need to first discuss the points.
Yeah, and the 12 hours.
Change the rest.
Yeah.
And he would get his 12 hours back.
Saw several pictures. Is there any video of this?
There's no video because, again, there was no exterior. There was nobody that saw it from the outside. I know we're in the reserve ladder. I don't believe that has any.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't have a
Outside.
dash cam or anything like that.
See, we didn't get the statements from the drivers of the
Gotcha.
fire, the truck, the engine, and.
Yeah, and
so I really-
again, I'm just drawing between the lines. If we have two reports that say one apparatus is, both apparatus are moving, and then the investigation says that it was not moving, then I'm just assuming that the other 2 say that.
And Amy, I'll yield the gavel back over to you.
No, you can keep it. I'm trying to figure out, because I can see the pictures, but I'm having like a hard time picturing, you know, here's the interchange. I assume it's like a four-way stop.
It is a three-way stop.
Okay. And so that's what I kind of need to, the
So-
north and the south and all that sounds great, and I normally am okay with that, but like, okay, you're coming from here and somebody turned, that's what I'm trying to picture in my head.
So the way the course works, to my knowledge, they both were in that, well, not to my knowledge, I know that they were both in that, the bigger lot at Veterans Park. The ladder was waiting to do the first part, so it was kind of parked at an angle in the intersection, or moving, whatever. That's where its placement was, and Marty was coming off the course to go to the back lot. They were using the same entrance. Again, I've talked to Chief about this, maybe in the future, that we consider changing our EVOC course where there's one entrance and one exit. That way we don't have apparatus passing each other
Intersection.
at all.
So he's trying to come out and they're trying to come in. And that's
Correct.
where okay.
And we have to take account for the ladder truck does have a lot of swing to it when you're making that turn. That back end does move quite a bit. And per his incident report, that's what he saw, and he was trying to get around it, which explains why there's so much damage on the side of the ambulance, as he was trying to move fast to get out of that apparatus way as it was swinging.
And then so, like, would there have been an opportunity to just stop and let the other one in, or was there nowhere for both to go, or?
In my opinion, nobody should have been passing in that intersection at all. We should not have two apparatus operating in the same intersection.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
But that was what needed to happen based on what was going on?
Yeah, that's where the apparatus were. I mean, he had to get out. He had to get out of the way. Was there a third apparatus on the course at the same time?
In the south lot.
There was another one, but it was in the south lot. So I think in the future, we're going to try to look at having just one apparatus in one lot and one apparatus in the other. There's not a third one operating.
Okay.
It might take more time, but
Yeah, there were really two in the north lot.
Two were in the south.
And then the third one was,
Yeah, in the south lot.
you know, several hundred yards away.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Do we want to?
Did you have anything?
Talk, or do we want to take a break?
I think we
Do we
can
want-
have some open discussion
Yeah.
about it. I mean, open door law. Chief, was there anything that you wanted to come back with on any of that?
Yeah.
Some details?
Yeah. So I thought I would just address a couple of things. Some of the things that Lieutenant Remmel had mentioned was it's difficult when all of the information that you were provided was provided from the Accident Review Board's account of that. That's why there were differing accounts of what happened. One of the things I did want to touch base was the code that was quoted. I believe wasn't that code that you quoted, mentioning that you could just come to slow down to intersections and things like that. I believe that was the Indiana, whatever Indiana code you had mentioned. I'm pretty sure.
We gave them standard traffic rules, condition of motor operating, control, training, right, basic action.
Yeah.
That allows the emergency vehicle operators to proceed through intersections with caution, i.e. proceed.
Right. And that has to do not with training situations, that has to do with emergency vehicle operations.
Right.
And so that's not what this was. So there was no allowance to go through. As a matter of fact, in this training, the training chief had mentioned that we need to stop at that stop sign, and he had gotten on multiple different people about making sure we stop at that stop sign at the intersection. So,
And that's
so
because there was no emergent situation?
there was no, this was training, and unfortunately, this was emergency, this is driving training, safe driving training. That's what we're trying to do there. So that basically takes that out of play, because there was no emergency, and there's no reason for us to disregard any of the stop signs and things like that. one of the other things is that there is a discrepancy between the two crews, whether or not the vehicle was stopped or not. And did you all get the pictures? You all got the pictures. If you notice in those pictures, you'll notice that the ladder truck is taking up the majority of that intersection. As was mentioned earlier, it was mentioned that they needed to leave the lot. That isn't exactly complete. There was no need to be leaving the lot right then and there. And the accident review board agreed that 2 vehicles didn't fit through that intersection. That's not how things happened. So I will also address the morale issue and the message to the members. Everybody signed for this. The reason in the beginning that I mentioned the timeline, and I mentioned that July, August thing, mentioned how that this committee, this body approved the changing of that, and the fire chief didn't come up with this change. He has a general order committee, and that general order committee is made up of multiple different people. Firefighters, I can't speak to exactly who's on it, but firefighters, engineers, officers, and collectively the body, the members of this department are the ones that came together and made a recommendation for the chief to adopt this new general order. And so while it is new, it's only 2 months old. We believe that the accident review board came to their decision, which their decision, again, as we review it, the accident description, while this is brief, and I didn't mention this, but this is in the information you have, accident description. While on the EVOC course, Medic 40 came into contact with Reserve Ladder 38 while it was stopped. That's what the accident review board came to, that was their recommendation. That was what they came to make the decision after all the information was presented by Chief Gamble. So as to do with morale and what sends the message to the members, we have these rules. The accident review board assigned the points per the general order, and then they went to the point system and they decided this was the appropriate discipline. So for us, that's basically what we're saying, is that we believe that I don't know that we are expecting the body will make their decision, but all this information was made in accordance with that general. All the decisions that were made were in accordance with that same general order. And so for us, when we talk about rules and regulations, while morale is important, it also doesn't dictate what we do and how we react and how we make things. Now, the fire chief, absolutely, if there are things that we need to improve or to tweak, the fire chief has always been big on making sure that if we see issues, we will absolutely take care of those and we'll make the proper adjustments. But those are the things that I just wanted to touch base. Does anyone have any other questions for me?
Did they make note of what was presented, that Marty took evasive action, or was that part of the?
That was in Marty's statement, and
In
so
Marty's
that was
statement.
taken in consideration.
It was
Again,
taken into consideration.
Yeah, it was mentioned throughout it was read, so it was read into the information that they had to consider.
Thank you.
So, okay, go ahead.
You said you had conflicting statements, and so they took the statement that he was moving and then made their judgment based on that when the accident review board.
I don't think there was ever, in the information that we have, there was not a conflicting report about the ambulance moving. The ambulance was moving.
Okay.
The conflicting report between the two crews was whether or not the ladder truck was stopped or whether or not it had started to move to enter the course.
Okay, that's what.
That was the only difference.
Just that the driver of the engine or the ladder, did he have any issues? I mean, did he have written reprimand or anything like
We
that?
generally don't talk about
Okay, I
other
just
people's
thought there was gonna
information.
be.
Right, this is strictly this particular one.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
And so your response is that the, removing the intersection operation points is kind of, is moot because it doesn't have to do with the, because it wasn't an emergent situation, basically.
So basically, my statement was just to make sure we didn't get confused
Okay.
about having permission to go through an intersection without stopping or due regard. That's all. I want to make sure we don't get confused.
Okay.
The Accident Review Board basically has said that there was a failure to take precautionary measures while approaching that intersection. And they also have said that improper action happened while the ambulance was passing the ladder truck. That's where they get those two different 2-point sections, and that's what the Accident Review Board has come to decide. And like I said, like we mentioned, it's a completely independent. I wasn't in there to even, all I did was present information. Chief Gamble presented the pictures and the facts, and then they deliberated. And then all I did was document their findings.
Okay. You have any other questions, any other deliberations?
I wanted to be clear on one thing, and then we'll get back to you, Lieutenant, is when this accident happened, was this during the actual training process and they're maneuvering around each other, practicing things? Or was this when things were finished, or?
One was entering,
No,
one was
this was
getting ready
during,
to start.
this was during firefighter Sterrett's active, each firefighter and EMS personnel has to go through whatever they drive. So for the EMS personnel, they drive the ambulance because that's what they drive. For our firefighters, they drive an engine or a ladder and an ambulance because we drive both and they're different characteristics. So firefighter Sterrett was involved in driving his test while in the ambulance.
Yeah, but they go one at a time? Each
So
unit goes one at a time?
This course had multiple people on it.
So it did have multiple people?
It
Okay,
did,
that's what I wanted to
yes.
confirm.
Oh, so it was all part of the course where the accident happened?
So,
Like,
yeah,
not
so
like
the-
entering and exit, one entering and one exiting, it was part of the actual course?
No, that wasn't part of what was scheduled.
Okay.
On that parking lot, if this is the parking lot, there is a section, as soon as you turn in, you have one obstacle that you drive down, this one you drive down back up, and then this last one is a diminishing course where you just you drive through an alley that gets smaller and smaller, and then once you exit that alley at the corner of this parking lot, then you come over here to the exit. And this is where the ladder truck was parked here, getting ready to turn onto the first section of the course. The ambulance had just come off of the diminishing course and was coming around here and exiting.
So he was coming off the course and the other one was getting ready to start it?
Yes.
So-
And if you look at the pictures just show you where each apparatus was, and it does show you how the Accident Review Board came to decide what they decided. They looked at the pictures, because again, the pictures are pretty much all we have to go by as far as where apparatus were, the type of damage, and things like that.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Chief.
So the bulk
Lieutenant.
of the damage was on the ladder truck?
Driver's side.
Hmm?
Driver's side for both, yes.
But I mean, one vehicle was damaged more than the other, or not?
I mean, I don't know how much the ladder part costs for the truck, but one had body damage, paint and again, that trim piece. The other had a ladder and a marker light that was damaged, so.
There was already damage on the ladder previous to that accident too.
Yeah, and that's the same ladder that was involved with engine 37 earlier, like 2 or 3 months ago. So there was already damage on that side from the ladder as well.
But the Accident Review Board only considered the
Damage caused.
That was taken pictures of. We didn't take pictures on any other.
Yeah, so I appreciate the chief's discretion. I mean, obviously, we're here talking about Marty, we're not talking about the other member. So I do appreciate that from him. Also, he brought up the Indiana code not pertaining to emergency vehicles, except the course that we're on is called the Emergency Vehicle Operations Course. So I would argue against that. It is a EVOC course that we're going through, and that's, to me, that qualifies under that Indiana code. Also, I want to make note that he hit 0 cones throughout the entire course, so he did operate safely and he did pass the course. And then the other thing that was brought up was the other vehicle parked. What is parked? Is parked just for our foot on the brake, or is it an emergency brake on? To me, it's an emergency brake on. That is a parked vehicle. In those large apparatus, if we don't have enough pressure on that brake, then that truck will start to move sometimes. There were 2 apparatus on the course. That's why there was a collision. So again, we're going back to the training. Ground just needs modifying. I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. This is me as a good steward for the membership, saying that we need to modify the way we do our EVOC course. We need to make this safer for our members so that we're not here talking about this again next year. And the general order, we need to look at it again. I talked to Chief, and I think he's open to discussion about, and I'm going to be transparent. There is union representation on that general order committee. I was a part of that meeting when that went into effect, and that's just me being open with you guys. Again, we could not have anticipated the weight it was going to hold the very first incident that we were going to have, but he agrees. The general order, we can look at it. And there are maybe on some of those bullet points that we can add a little flexibility by adding up to 2 points to the general order, where it says just 2 points for each contributing factor. So that gives the accident review board a little bit of area where they can have some grace, especially when there is some fault for not providing a EVOC course that doesn't have apparatus passing each other.
My other question would be, as far as the general order and things like that, is to, like, it was put into place for a reason. We're finding out that it could have been clearer. But if we were to decide to go back on these, what does that say to the membership also? That here we have these rules, here they are, but maybe not. I mean, does that give, and I'm not saying one way or the other, but that's just something that we could consider. Is that going to give somebody else a chance to say, well, to kind of push back one way or the other? How much do we need to kind of be firm on it, and how much do we need to?
What are the rules for?
Right. So this is almost like a parenting kind of thing, So I just wanted to toss that idea out there, because I think that you had made the comment about the rest of the staff, the
Membership.
squad, yeah, the membership. My brain's not working today, but I wanted to just kind of bring up what it would be like if we went the other direction too. So that's an either or toss out there to think about.
You mentioned earlier that the Accident Review Board had passed on the $5,000 damage, the points on that, so those were taken away right off the bat, right?
Yeah, to my understanding, that was considered, but because they didn't have an actual estimate, they couldn't prove that was over $5,000, so they threw that one out.
Yeah.
And the 8 points is what moves it to all
Correct.
3 of them.
Yep. Anything below 7 is just a verbal reprimand, so he's literally 1 point.
Okay. So anything up to 7 is just a verbal reprimand,
Correct.
and 8.
8 is the number that you hit 12 hours off and a written reprimand.
Okay. 8 is the one that hits it out of the park,
Correct.
or that hits the wall, I
Well,
should say.
it starts the wall, I guess, because then it goes progressive after that.
Right.
So
And also, is that, and I feel like I should know this, is that per incident, or is there like a period of time within a period of time that,
You have a year before it resets, like your points, so he will, if the commission decides today that, you know, he has 6 points, then he will have 6 points, and that will reset on, what was it, October 15th or 16th of next year. At least that's my understanding of it.
I think there was also mention of the ambulance was actually partially in the grass,
Yes.
which would be considered out of the way.
Yeah, he's trying to avoid contact, so when you're driving those ladder trucks, that back end tends to move farther into the intersection than the front does, per his incident report. And again, that's all I had access to, per his incident report. You know, he saw that back end shifting, and so he accelerated to get through that intersection to avoid contact.
I don't know if this has any, well, it might have some bearing. What would the outcome, well, not outcome, but what, would there have been any repercussions to stopping and letting the ladder truck move and then getting out of the way? I mean, would there have been any?
I guess that all depends on if the ladder truck was actually moving, or if he stopped, would the ladder truck have hit the front of the ambulance? He's partially in the grass, which to me shows that he's trying to get around that before it makes contact, but.
But what I'm thinking, like, even coming out of it, if you would have stopped at a certain point, and the truck would have gone in, and then he would have gone out.
And I suppose that all goes to the instructor and what they instructed him to do, or if
Okay.
they didn't say anything. So that comes with experience and having to do paperwork for these accidents and stuff.
Right.
You don't want to do any paperwork, so
Right.
you would have them stop, hey, just wait here, wait till that ladder gets on there. So I understand what you're saying.
Okay. So at that point, the movement was based on what the instructor had said too.
A possibility. Again, sometimes they don't say anything when you're in there. Sometimes you're just, you know, talking while you're going through the course. So again, that comes with experience. That's why I'm saying we probably ought to put somebody that is an instructor or has a little bit, they have a little bit of experience doing that. I would love to see our drivers up there doing that particular thing, because they're the ones that do it every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We also talked a little bit about, which would have been the first of the 4 points, the first preventable accident. So according to the timetables, do you generally look at calendar years? You said there hadn't been anything there, but there were prior incidents.
No, so I don't think there was any prior incidents that were taken into account in this case. You know, when was your last accident?
4 or 5 years ago.
So 4 or 5 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago per chief. He's got the record, so.
Is there something else you wanted to say, Chief?
Whenever they're done, I just wanted to
That's good.
touch base on just something.
Okay, any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay. Chief?
Sorry about that. I just want to make sure that we have a clear picture, right? When we talk about the instructor, I want to make sure we don't get in mind that there is actual someone in that right seat that is telling that person exactly what to do. That's not the way we have our e-box situation set up. Basically, we have that person in the right seat, and the reason that person was a civilian who does drive an ambulance, but they're not directing the people to go here, go there. There are times when it's been a year since we've done the course, and the only thing that person sometimes does is, hey, you're going to go down, remember, you're going to go down this alley first and then back up and do this. So I just want to make sure there is no instruction being given by that person in the right seat. For myself, I didn't give a single word of instruction because the person had, they knew exactly what the course was. They didn't need any direction. So I want to make sure that in that right seat, that's really not an instructor. That is someone who's there just to make sure they're going in the right direction. And we also talked a little bit about not being parked. In none of our incident reports did we talk about being parked. It was just being stopped. The person had their foot on the brake. And the last thing that I'll just touch on is when you look at the pictures, we see that the ambulance probably, it was in the grass, but you also see that it is touching the ladder truck, which in the accident review board's mind meant that there's not enough room for two apparatus to occupy the same space. So that and we differ on our opinion is the department not providing a safe EVOC course. I would disagree with that. We had two vehicles on that course at the same time, one waiting to start and one finishing. We believe that there was decisions that were made that caused this. Granted, there is only one, we only have avenues for one entrance and one exit, but so that's pretty much it.
Well, I think, I think the process has gone through the right channels, the right procedures. Chief received the report, was then reported to the Accident Review Board. You've got the GO, which is pretty clear and has been updated very regularly, including this year, a few months ago. So I think it's a matter of, based on the testimony, and what we've heard in the conflicting statements, training course, if there's going to be a point reduction on any of those, like improper passing or the precautionary failure. I can see the first four for the,
Preventable.
yeah, for the first preventable accident. And again, the total of these to begin with is on the lower end of that scale, is what it shows me, 8 to 11. The review board took away the damage side of that, the points that would be accrued for that, which could have been more. So, board thoughts and comments on what direction you all want to go.
I just want to clarify, we can uphold, affirm, modify, or reverse, or in some way, right? That's the authority we have to do.
Correct.
Okay.
So I would suggest we probably would vote on whether or not to remove either of the two sections.
I don't think we can be.
Pardon?
I don't think we can. Once it's applied, the suspension and stuff.
Right, but if we can uphold what the review board said, we can modify it, or we can.
Gotcha,
Mhm.
gotcha.
You can uphold or modify.
I see what you're saying.
Like modify from like 12
Right.
hours down to 6
Right.
hours.
That's
Correct.
what we
Right.
can modify.
Or can we get rid of the hours and keep the written reprimand,
I was gonna say, are we modifying the points or modifying the,
The request is the points.
okay. Okay,
Can you repeat that, Katie?
the request is to modify the points, not necessarily modifying the consequences. One would beget the other, but. So, you wanna run, or do you want me to?
Pass the gavel to you.
Thanks. Okay, so I guess first we can vote on, do we want to discuss among ourselves, or do we just want to vote, or how are we?
It's got to be a public.
Okay,
That's what I want to do.
Can we go over the points each by
yeah.
one? Would
Say
that be
2,
helpful?
take it from like 8 to 6.
That's what I said. There's a couple of things on there, the improper.
I think with the conflicting accounts and
I'd say bring it down to 6.
See, what, are you, but in doing that, do we need to verify, like, specify which points we would be taking away? Like, one from each of the two, or one, or modifying that to be up to 2 points, or
Improper passing.
my concern of this is that's essentially modifying the general order,
Excuse me.
which we already passed, and if it needs to be fixed, then it needs to be fixed another time around. I don't know how much I guess I'm trying to figure out, if we take it from 8 to 6, that's great, but how are we taking it that way, and what is that?
I mean,
Or if we.
I think that what the 2 points was improper passing, and what was this other one?
Failure of precautionary
Right.
with the alleys and,
I think we can take that one off. I mean, I can't see how that even goes with the suspension, you know?
so that's the second.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You don't feel like the improper passing
No,
is
the other,
valid here?
the,
Of the intersection
Right.
operations?
right,
Failure to take precautionary measures approaching alleys, driveways,
Right.
and intersections.
And you don't feel like that
'Cause
applies because?
because he was stopped at a stop sign, and then he saw the engine come around, he tried to move around it. So, I mean, you could call that improper passing maybe, but the other one, I don't think it was
See, I guess that's where my confusion is. I'm hearing, kind of the way I heard it, was that the truck was coming in, and then he was trying to leave.
Right.
That it wasn't necessarily, if he had stayed, he would have gotten hit.
Right.
That it was just that he was trying to move on his way out while the other one was coming in.
But to me, that would be closer to improper passing. The other part, what was that again?
Right here. So it's the 4 on that one,
Yeah.
or the 2 for the failure to take
Yeah.
precautionary.
Yeah, the failure to take precautionary.
I mean, Herman, you've done this.
I've been on many accident review committees and boards, many for the last 40 years, and the improper passing, I could see that, but that other one, I'm kind of stuck because it wasn't an emergency, you know?
Right. But I think that's what they're saying, since it was an emergency, that there's not the ability or I'm trying to think, the grace given for it having happened, because there wasn't, if there was an emergent situation, you would be like, okay,
Right,
he was
right,
trying to
right,
get
right.
somewhere. This one was less emergent, so that it.
I don't think it was emergent at all.
Right, so then that was, I think that's the improper part, because it wasn't
Right.
even emergent and it still was hit.
Right.
So that's the one you're wanting to keep?
That's the one I want to get rid of. I want to keep the improper passing, because the improper passing, actually, that was when that's when the contact was made with the engine. He was on the grass, even said it was on there, so to me, that would be improper passing, even though he was trying to avoid it.
Herman, can you tell me more about your experience? What are you saying? Can you
Well,
clarify?
mine was mostly, I worked for IEMS ambulances, and I was on the accident review committee on a lot of those ambulance accidents. And I see what the chief's trying to do, you know, I mean, and he's exactly right on how they look at the stuff, you know, you have a way of doing it, and this is the way it has to be done, okay?
So what do you think about the points then?
Well, like I said, the accident review committee, they made their decision on the what was that first part of I should have this up.
Yeah.
On the first preventable.
Yeah, the preventable accident, because it was definitely preventable. But as far as this other stuff goes, where was that at? The improper passing, I can see that. But the other thing was the emergency. There was no emergency.
So,
And that's why I'm confused about why we're concerned, because if there wasn't an emergent situation, then the intersection situation shouldn't have been a real concern about
Right.
how far it went. So, since there wasn't an emergent situation, it would be, I don't know, I don't know if we're arguing in circles or not.
yeah, well, I mean, they're very close together.
Yeah, they are.
The two interpretations of the general orders.
And the improper passing is that,
He was on the grass, so.
right, but I guess my thinking of improper passing sounds like something out on the road thing. I feel like both of these being taken into account in a training situation situation is kind of muddy. So,
It's tough. It's tough because they're close together. I mean, they're,
mhm. That both of these seem more pointed to being out on the road.
Right, instead of an EVOC course.
Right, and so them being applied here also feels weird, but if that's how it's supposed to be done,
because on one hand, we've got a review board that's made recommendations based on the evidence that they've seen. We've heard rebuttal on the extenuating circumstances, obviously the background and the experience of Officer Scarrett, and then there's the fact that ironically, this was part of some
Right.
training
Yeah.
course
right.
for safety and that.
And I'm not looking anything, against your task and your service and everything else. I'm just trying to figure out the details of what this, not even figure out, but kind of swim
Right.
around in my head, the specifics of the situation.
I think they're asking for is the deduction of the points for, 2 for the second offense and then the 2 for the third. That's what they're asking for,
Right.
which would take it down to 4 points, which would take away, anything under 8 would take away
It would be a verbal reprimand.
reprimand.
Right, and that part I get. I'm just trying to go back to the
I'm for that.
difficulty of
You're for the verbal
which
reprimand.
way to let go and which one to.
Ready to make a motion?
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm torn.
Discussion.
Yeah, well, I think I'm torn, and then,
The second and third offense, they're so close to what they're all precautionary. I mean, you've got to give. So if you get rid of one, you get rid of the other. Do you take it down to 4, or do you take it with one? And either way, it's going to be under 8 points, and it'll go to written reprimand
Written reprimand.
with no hours.
would it be, I feel like this is something I should know, but could it be something that we could take it to like 1 point for each, that we could, or is that going against?
That would,
or-
see, that's not according to their SOPs.
Yeah.
Their standard procedure, I think he kind of explained that a little bit.
Right.
They changed it in August,
Yeah.
and
So we
how
have
they
to-
do it.
I mean, one side, we really, it's important to stand by the SOP and the GO on this, and then there's just this area of these 2 items.
Yep.
Right.
To me, that's it.
We did hear
Two
some
items.
conflicting reports.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what weight you want to bear that in.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm only 1 vote too, so I'm not,
I mean, the conflicting
Thinking out loud.
accounts brings up some reasonable doubt.
that could be.
That's what I. Yes.
Well, let's go ahead and, is everybody ready to vote?
Yep.
We'll vote like on each one of them? Okay, so our first vote will be whether or not to remove the 2 points to remove or uphold the 2 points for intersection operations.
Are you making a motion?
I guess I'm just tossing it out there,
Okay.
and somebody will,
Okay.
somebody can make a
So,
motion.
yeah, so we have quorum, majority, we also,
I just want to see if anybody needed to go. Okay, so would somebody like to make a motion to vote to remove the points regarding intersection operations?
I make a motion to remove those 2 points.
I will second that.
Okay. All in favor of removing the points for intersection operations, say aye.
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 I don't know, I will say aye too. You're going to abstain?
I tend to stand by what the review board and the SOP, but I'm respectful to, the gray area of with this stuff, so if we've got 3, then it passes.
Okay.
3-1.
So then all in favor of dropping the points regarding passing. I don't remember all the wording. Who, let's see, would somebody like to make a motion to drop the points in regards to passing?
I make a motion not to drop the points.
Not to drop the points, okay? Do you have a second?
Nope.
Do we have anybody who wants to drop the points? Or do we even want to address those points? Do we want to make a motion, does somebody want to make a motion to uphold the points for passing?
What did you say, Herman?
Now, I moved to uphold it.
Uphold it.
And,
Okay.
okay.
You move to uphold the points from the review board for the passing violation.
Okay.
No pass.
Do we have a second on that?
So that takes us down at the minimum, at the most, to 6 points,
Right,
which takes us to written
right.
reprimand.
So we're not gonna vote on the second one because we don't have a second.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. So, we've removed the points regarding intersection operations.
I guess cumulatively, we're voting on a reduction of the points from the original 8
Mm-hmm.
To
Correct.
6.
to 6.
Correct.
Okay.
Based
Okay.
on the intersection.
So there's your motion.
There's your motion.
Well, that's kind of what we already voted to do. So I was just clarifying.
Okay.
Um,
Right.
Okay, so do we have any other questions from anybody else about that before we move on to the MIH program, which is next on our list?
You're gonna tell them our decision, I think, is what they want.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think.
okay, so the decision to remove the points based on the intersection operations portion, removing those 2 points, bringing the points for this accident to 6 for Mr. Starrett. I'm sorry, I completely forgot your ranking. I'm really the best president we've ever had, I'm sure.
Engineer.
Engineer. So, thank you. So, that, we're good with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
Now, we need to move on to new business number 2 for the MIH program.
All right, our MIH program, Mobile Integrated Health Program. I thought I would just start out with kind of just giving a brief overview of exactly what that program is. The Mobile Integrated Health Program, we're getting funding for this. The project overview is that the City of Lawrence Fire Department is getting funding for the Mobile Integrated Health Program, and it improves patient outcomes, it decreases unnecessary emergency transports, and connects residents with the appropriate healthcare agencies. So we justified this need in a grant request. The EMS crews respond to many different EMS types of runs, and we want to make sure we have a better connection with the community, and we were looking for equipment to help us do that. And our anticipated outcome when this MIH program gets up and running is that there are fewer preventable ER transports. It'll be improved chronic disease management at home, higher patient satisfactions, and we're hoping to continue that. The MIH program, some of the things that it does that we're hoping it'll end up with is post-hospital discharge. We'll be able to reduce the readmission rate that we have. Also, diabetic counseling, monitoring, chronic disease management. We're hoping that we can assist with some substance abuse mitigation, mental illness mitigation, even OB and newborn management programs that we can get people towards, and the elderly management programs, which include like fall prevention, and immunization and vaccination things. So all of these are areas that we're hoping to be able to use that, the grant for. And we're trying to get more and more in our community, and basically we have examples from other departments around us where they've had an MIH system, and it actually has decreased some of their run load. And that's what we're looking to do, is try to keep the ambulances, the engines from going out on as many EMS runs. If we can spend the time with this MIH program to come in and assist some of our elderly folks with maybe trip and fall hazards or medication, organization, things like that. So we're really proud to say that that's something that we're heading towards, and we're hoping that will be something that is a good success. We've had, certainly people around have had a lot of success for that. So that's, these things, we're just kind of keeping you up to date with some of the things that are going on with the fire department.
And what's involved with those programs? Is that like our guys go to some training and then they know, here are some things that we can talk to some of our frequent flyers or to
Yes.
some of our citizens that have particular issues or something like that?
Yes, absolutely. We're basically using some grant money to do our, we're going to get ultrasounds, and then we're going to use some of that for training our EMS duty officers who are on our chase trucks that follow the ambulances on different runs. They'll be able to go and they'll be able to make that assistance. So,
Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
and so basically, that's what that is. It's going to be our people who are going to be making these runs. We'll be utilizing to start off, as we start off, we'll be using our EDOs to help with a lot of that. And as we get more people trained, we can hopefully in the future expand that. But for now, we're going to do that, and that's something that we look to.
And so how
progress
do
on.
we, and I am sure as it comes more to be, we'll learn more about it. But is that something like, as if somebody is discharged from the hospital or something, that we know that this person could use some med management care? Or like how do we kind of find those people that we can do this preventive stuff so it's not?
Is it more transparency?
Yeah. Through the hospitals, we will receive information of people who have been discharged, especially people who are maybe a higher risk. Some of the categories that we mentioned, and that way, that's how we will try to connect with those people.
Okay,
And
like
then we'll send out our MIH team, and they'll go out and they will evaluate and see what we can help them with. And there may be some people that are self-sufficient, they're good, but
Like
a lot of that
almost
recommendation will
offer,
come
like
from that.
wellness checks for people like coming back out or something like that.
Yeah, and someone who, like was mentioned, some of the a newer diabetic, make sure that they're clear on different kind of medications and the schedule that the doctor has set out,
Right.
and make sure that they have a clear example, because the goal is to help them do better so that they don't have to call 911. We don't have to end up
Right.
taking them back to the hospital. So that's the whole basis of this program.
Cut down on those ambulance calls.
That's what we're hoping, and of course, it's not going to be majorly drastic, but we've seen in discussions. I had a meeting with IEMS a little while ago, and they talked about how the
Yeah.
success that they're having.
We've had that. We've been doing that they've been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, and they're having some good success with
Yep.
being able to, number one, help our citizens, but number two, we're also being able to keep our resources allocated to where we really need them. So
Teach them how to take their their diabetic medication, their insulin, and, take a nitro when you have chest pain.
yeah.
Right.
Do they, then it becomes more known in the community that this is a service or this is an option, so we can call somebody to come
Yes.
and
Yeah.
check on mom and her medication? Or
Right,
things
and
like that?
and we'll also take into account the crews that respond to regular 911 calls, and if we will make a list of people that we think, oh, we could really help. And as you mentioned, some of our clients that we see more often than others, we will be able to give them hopefully the attention that they need, so they don't have to be making phone calls as often. And so we're hoping that's going to be a benefit.
Chief, will the grant take care of everything?
The grant
Is there a match?
is going to help
Come up
out with our ultrasounds and the training and some of the EMS bags. So this will get us, it's going to get us off the ground. It's going to
Good.
get us going.
Starter kit.
Yeah, exactly. And That will be something that as we go on, we're taking cues from people who have already been doing it, IEMS and other areas, other fire departments, and we're kind of learning from some of their on-the-ground experience, and we'll take that, and then hopefully when funds come available, we'll be able to make use and make sure that this is hopefully a thriving program.
Partnered up with like the community hospital. I mean, they're your sponsoring hospital, correct?
Actually, Methodist is
Methodist?
in town,
But-
but we absolutely,
Because you take a lot of those regular patients, the community east or north, wherever,
Yeah.
and like they should be helped
the
out
Heart
because
Hospital, absolutely.
that
And so
packs their
we'll
yard.
explore all the avenues, especially in difficult times where money and budgets and things like that are challenging. We'll certainly take an opportunity to, we won't say no to anybody that has any assistance that we can make use of to help our citizens.
I'm sure the
So-
hospitals will be very willing to participate, because readmission is a major
No,
Right.
Concern.
dink on their grade.
Yeah.
if, you know, when
Because
people are readmitted
especially with
because of-
community, right, between community, north and east and the Heart Hospital, that is by far the majority of our transports.
Yep.
Right.
All right, very good.
So what can we do for you on this? Do we need to pass a resolution for that?
No, that's
By
true.
name.
No, this is just more of a informational. We're kind of keeping you guys up to date of what's going on. We have a couple other items that we were gonna just touch on, and again, they are information. We're just kind of trying to keep you guys in the loop, and again, with this information, who knows what the eventual trickle down, you could be in a conversation with someone later on, and they might have a connection, and who knows how that goes. But we also wanted to make sure that we appreciate you being on the board, and we certainly wanted to keep you involved in what the community and what the fire department's doing. With that, the grant was approved. That was for $21,988. So that's certainly going to get us, the biggest thing is the training. The training, we'll be able to get our guys and gals the training they need to start this program. And like I said, this is going to be exactly what we need to get it off the ground and get moving. So we're super happy about that. That was a great thing. So we're really glad. The next item was paramedic school, and we've had one of our EMTs, Claire Gray, has accepted the offer to go to medic school. We're happy about that as well. And she's agreed to work for Lawrence Fire Department. Our agreement is that we'll send her to school, and she agrees to work for us for a couple of years, and then we'll go from there. We're certainly absolutely happy to have as many paramedics as possible, because again, that goes right back into helping the community and things.
is she doing the IMS program?
No, we're actually doing the School of EMS program. And this is a program that came out, it's been out for several years. I actually ran into it when I was the EMS division chief at our fire department instructor conference. And it is, a big chunk of that is online. There's basically, there is hands-on, and there's still the same amount of training, and you're still doing clinicals and all, but some of the core information is given online, and it's firefighter and EMS friendly, so there are multiple days. Our guys work at 24, guys and gals work at 24/48, so there are days where they're on duty, and this actually, for us, is a savings, because before a class, we would have to send a firefighter or an EMS individual on duty, and we would have to backfill and overtime. This makes it to where they're able to do a lot of this training when it's not necessarily where we have to backfill. So it's good, and we actually have 2 prior graduates that have taken this school, and so far it's been really good.
So they're gonna be preceptors for her.
They'll be, we'll have opportunity to precept here. They'll have opportunity to precept at all kinds of different departments. I know Fishers is big, and Fishers is, and there are other departments around. We'll be able to do that. So that's, we're glad to have another medic going into class. And then in community engagement, we thought we'd talk about real briefly. So far, we've had 52 instances, and what those instances are is 26 of those were station tours. And so we have had over 1,000 students that have come through our different stations, and gives us an opportunity to engage with our young ones, talk about all the information that we talk to young ones, depending on how old they are, And we certainly have an opportunity for them to be in the stations and to see firefighters and be able to climb around on the equipment and kind of see things. So we're glad to hear that we've had that many people. We've also had 26 community outreach, and there's many different types. Some of those, we visited Black Expo. We also have 3 public CPR classes that have been conducted, and we're going to have more of those later on throughout the rest of the year. We went to Building 1, and we've had multiple classes, the Finance Center, and we've been able to teach CPR there. Our EMS division chief's been able to do that, and some of our crew members on the department have helped do CPR training for those people. So again, helping people to learn CPR is going to do nothing but help the community, and that's what we're.
Does that include Community Safety Day and?
Safety Day, yeah, that's part of those, exactly, a part of that community outreach.
National
So,
Night Out.
so we've had a good opportunity, and I know there are other instances that we might not have documented here that we might not have mentioned, that we've had opportunity to engage with the community. There are many other that we just didn't have time to write down all the different things that we've had opportunity to get with people, give them information, and trying to just make Lawrence Fire Department more visible.
Yeah,
And,
it's a win-win all the way.
Yeah, certainly trying to take care of the citizens like we'd want to have them take care of our family as well. And then the last thing that we have to talk about, that I have to talk about, is the Firefighters Family Assistance Program, and how, get to my, so I just have a few dates. I don't know if you want to jot these down. I can get those to you later. But some of the important dates that we have is Saturday, December 6th, from noon to 1 at Whiskey Business. We invite you to join our annual Whiskey Business fundraiser, and it's there'll be a percentage of the sales that go on that evening will go to the Lawrence Family Assistance Program, and they usually have different things going on. I don't know, there might be a raffle this year. There's a raffle of different prizes and things like that. So
You said from 12 to 1, or is it,
from 12 to 1, yes.
12.
That's what is scheduled.
but it's going to be like all of the evenings, or
It's,
just?
no, this is Saturday, December 6th, between 12 and 1. That is the time that they will be taking a percentage of, so if you get there, make sure you order
Come
early.
that time.
Order all your appetizers and things early, so.
I think you threw me off because you said that evening or something. so
Oh,
that's-
sorry about that, yes.
That's what I
So,
wanted to make
yeah, that
sure.
would not necessarily be evening, sorry about that. So, yeah, between 12 and 1. It'll be a lunchtime.
So the firefighters can go from hotcakes over to,
There you go.
that's usually where I run into is at hotcakes.
We do like our
Thankfully,
food.
not in the house, but.
So another date is Friday, December 19th, and that will be from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., and that is at Station 38. And we're inviting you to join us for that Irish stew that'll be prepared by Chief Gamble and Chief Lazan. And while we're doing that, we'll be needing help sorting toys that'll be passed out to the families the following day. So on the Friday, we have a couple of our chiefs that work hard and make that Irish stew. And then
19th.
we'll end up being able to sort toys, and a lot of times that's done by different age groups and
That's a lot of fun.
and things like that. So we'll be able to get in there and do that. And that's all prep for Saturday. The next day is Saturday, December 20th. And that's the big day. So that's between 5 and 6:30. And that's again at Station 38. And that's our family assistance. That's where we pass out the items, and the families will arrive, and we'll be passing out food, gift cards, hams, toys for the kiddos, and
Chief, that's in the morning.
I have a wrong time then.
Okay.
So can
8
you
to
give us
noon.
exactly what time that is?
That's 8 a.m. to noon.
That is Saturday, December 20th.
And is the one on December 19th, what's the time for that?
That's 5. It starts at 5.
Okay.
5 to 6:30.
Yeah, that's probably where the.
All right,
price
well,
is.
thank you, Kaylee, I appreciate that. So Saturday, December 20th, that's our big day at Station 38. That's where we will be doing the passing out of all the different things, and that's 8 a.m. until we're done?
Noon.
Okay, 8 a.m. till noon.
Yep.
All right, so you're gonna need to eat a little Irish stew the night before, so you have the strength to go from 8 to noon helping out, so.
Yep.
We've taken our kids to that night before, when they were really young, when we brought our kids, and they really had a great time. and it got really-
We usually have a really good participation from everyone, so we really do appreciate it. And the Family Assistance Program, it's been in Lawrence for over 30 years, 30-plus years. And so it's gone, when I started here in 1995, 30 years ago, and it was already in progress. And I remember when there were just handfuls of people, and then it increased to dozens, and now I don't even know the statistics as far as how many people that we generally help, but I know that it has grown immensely. And we have multiple different stories of how beneficial this has really been, and how that it has helped people out. So it's a really good program. We appreciate that. So now that we got all that information correct, that's pretty much all the information I have to pass along. Does anybody have any other questions?
Chief, my wife is on Kiwanis, and they like to give a contribution. Would that just be at any time they could submit that to you?
Yes, Kaylee, you can probably give more detailed information if you would.
Absolutely, yes, it can be submitted at any time.
Could that come to you?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
it would come to me.
All right.
It would be made out to
I've had orders
the,
from my wife to get this right, so.
it'd be made out to the Family Assistance Program.
Make out to family assistance.
If it's a check, yeah.
If it's a check. okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
For the MIH training and stuff, as that comes about, this is just purely out of interest for me. Is that something that we could sit in on, just to kind of see what the training looks like? Or is that something that can be?
That probably wouldn't be, it's designed specifically. Matter of fact, we'll have some training from our, from different people. There'll be obviously an organized training, but yeah, it'll be pretty much for our folks. And then even our medical director, Dr. Ostahowski, she'll have training that she'll be doing as well. So that's pretty much just directed towards us.
Right.
But as we get things going,
And I don't want to use it for myself. I just would be interested to see what all the training is
yeah,
involved.
yes.
Just,
And as we go along, there may come a time when we might be able to, once we get our feet on the ground and get going, we might be able to come in and present kind of where we're at. And maybe another meeting, we can give a progress report on how things are going, and kind of go from there. And then one of our EDOs could even give you a high-level overview of kind of the things that they have been taught, and what they're looking for, and what they're doing,
Right.
and those kind of things. So that might be something we could look forward to at a future time.
That I'm a therapist, so I'm kind of interested in just
Mhm.
that kind of neat stuff.
Perfect.
So do we have any questions or any good of the order comments?
No, I was just going to please send our regards to the chief, and I know he couldn't be here, but thank you for kind of taking us through this tonight.
Absolutely, no
Appreciate it.
problem.
You know, I hope morale and people, there'll be some exposure. People learn and understand that things happen, but
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely. We will keep on keeping on.
There you go.
that's right.
Keep on doing it.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
Chief, appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion to adjourn.
I second.
Anybody against it? All right.
Tom, are you against it?
That's always been unanimous.
You always want to stay here for a while, don't you?
I think this is the longest meeting we've had.